Welcome to the Four Listeners Program. Welcome aboard, everybody. Thanks for checking us out this week. What up, everybody? I'm Spear, and on the mics with me this week is the Z-Man. What is up, Z?
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
Nice. That was headbanging there. It's a good job. On the other mic is the mighty Ganthor. What is up, Ganthor?
What's up, bitches?
What's up, sluts? Hey, what are we doing this week? Something must be done about what? The Marvel Cinematic Universe? Is that what we're doing?
It's getting crowded.
Do we think it's really getting crowded?
Well, wait,
It's
we're
pretty
not going
fucking crowded.
to address our absence?
Shit happens.
Fuck it.
Okay.
Why are things getting crowded?
I mean, there's a lot of fucking parallel stories and cross stories and guest appearances and I'm nervous about seeing what's the next one coming out. The next one's Infinity War.
Infinity War, yeah, May of 2018.
I'm nervous to try to go see this thing because I know I'm so far behind in what's happening in Marvel land. Like, I remember watching Avengers 2 and being like, what the hell's going on? What happened to S.H.I.E.L.D.? Why is it gone? And, like, that happened somewhere along the line in, Thor?
Oh, it was Captain America, Winter Soldier.
Or Captain America. And I was like, I don't know what happened because I never saw that one. And so, like, if you skip a piece, you're like, what the fuck's going on? Now, I'm sure it doesn't matter. And so I did see Thor 2. And then I heard you don't need to see Thor 2 to see Thor 3. And I heard Thor 3 was really funny, even if you don't like Thor.
Yes.
And so I'm told I should go see it, but like I don't feel like you should see the third one unless you see the first two. It's like, Butt Bongo Fiesta 7 is really not going to be the same thing unless you know what happened in Butt Bongo 1 through 6.
Is that really true though?
No, that's probably not true.
Okay.
At all. But, it's nice to have the continuity. It's nice to know what the characters have been going through.
You'd like to know what butts the bongos are.
You're gonna miss a lot of the inside references, I think.
Well, so the way they used to do that in the comics is they used to do this stuff all the time, where characters would drop in from other books, and then they would make some reference to something, and then there would be some little thing that says as seen in Hulk 17 or something like that. So at least you could go to the comic book where that thing happened. But they don't do that in the movies. It's not like a little bubble pops up like a pop-up video.
Hold on. You 13-year-old Spear are supposed to now go out and find this comic book so that you can go get the reference?
Yes, that's the way they used to do it.
Fuck that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's what they do.
That's what they do.
That seems just crazy, but okay.
It is a very common comic book trope to do that kind of thing.
Because in most TV shows, they're going to be like previously on, and they'll give you like the context that you needed if you missed like the show in episode 3.
Sure.
Right? Like, anytime you see something crazy going on in the intro for like Homeland or something like that, that person's going to become important, or that scene's now important again.
So when we reference
if you didn't see the episode, you probably forgot about it by now anyway.
Well, sure. So this happens so that when we reference it somewhere later on, you can remember what you saw. And that works for episodic television, but they don't do that. They don't normally do that with movies, and you have to look at the breadth of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or the MCU as the kids call it, as this kind of episodic saga. Every one of these movies has built up on the one previously so that you get a much broader story that's being told. There are definitely a few of these Marvel movies that you should see in order for you to get the context of what's going on. And in large part, it's the ones that have anything to do with the Infinity Stones.
Right, because he's going to have the gauntlet in this thing, right?
Right. Infinity War is one of a 2-part Avengers story, and it's about Thanos and the Infinity Gauntlet. And the Infinity Gauntlet is powered by the Infinity Stones. Most of which I think there's 5 or 6. Most of which you've seen in
Tesseract.
Right. The Tesseract, I think, is the Power Stone. The
Chaos Stone.
Right. So the Ether was one stone. The orb, the purple orb from Guardians of the Galaxy, is one of the stones. The Mind Stone was the one that was in Loki's staff from the first Avengers.
Right.
Right. So you have to have at least seen the movies where the stones appear to help you get that through line, which is why you had to see Thor: The Dark World, because that's where the Ether showed up.
Right. I don't know. It seems like it's too much of an investment.
Well, it depends. I mean, it depends on whether or not you want to see the Avengers. The Avengers movies were built as kind of the culmination of a series of phases. So this was a big gamble for Marvel because it was the brainchild of a guy named Kevin Feige, F-I-E-G-E, Feige. He was the brainchild behind the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The idea that you can build up a story with each of these individual movies with investments of hundreds of millions of dollars to make these movies and have them all pay off at the end of this like one big phase of delivery for these movies. And to put this in perspective, the original Iron Man made $585 million. Iron Man 2 made $623 million. Thor made $450. But the Avengers made $1.5 billion.
Is that domestic or is that in total?
That's total. That's total. $1.5 billion. So the bet obviously paid off. And it was from there they were kind of emboldened. It's like, well, holy shit, look at what we have on our hands. So it was natural that they would continue on this path, to continue these storylines and have them start to coexist and coalesce with each other.
Yeah.
The one thing that was really interesting about Marvel, once they started to get into this, they realized that they have a bench of characters that they really hadn't drawn from. I mean, you got to figure Iron Man was an enormous bet when they first made that movie, because who the fuck knew about Iron Man when they made that movie?
Yeah, he was a shitty superhero in the comic books.
I never read comic books, so for me, everything I know about comic books is from the movies.
Right.
Oh, well, there's your problem.
Right, so but that's exactly the point, is that unless you were a real comic book nerd, you didn't know about Iron Man, and you certainly didn't know about Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy was one of these things where like, what the fuck is this? But by this point, Marvel had so much goodwill built up with all of these enormous hits. Guardians of the Galaxy, when it came out, was like, if you had done this one first, everyone would have been like, what the fuck is this? It ended up making $773 million.
So the other way I know all the comics is just from the Lego superhero games. So Lego Marvel and Avengers and Marvel 2 and whatever. And so at the end of one of the games I was playing, that's what happened is that all of a sudden they introduced this fucking talking tree, or this talking raccoon and a tree. And I'm like, what the shit is that? And it's one of the unlockable characters.
Yep.
And so I have no idea who the fuck these people are. And the same thing's happening in the game that just came out. Excuse me, Lego Avengers 2. They're introducing all the Inhumans. And I'm like, who the fuck is Lockjaw, Black Bolt, and was it Medusa?
Yeah.
Is that the chick?
Yeah, and for this now you can tune into the Inhumans on Hulu or wherever the hell it is. It's on ABC. I don't is it on ABC or is it only on Hulu? Because I don't know if they were streaming it or not. But the Inhumans was supposed to be in one of these phases. It was supposed to be a movie. And they took it out of the MCU and they put it on TV. But they're all intertwined.
Yeah, Lockjaw is this like teleporting fucking dog with a wrench in its head.
Yep, yeah.
I don't know what's happening.
Yeah. Given all of the success with all of this, though, Z, I mean, you're saying it's too crowded. Are you suggesting that it's come to a critical mass with this, where it's time for them to stop?
Are we at peak Marvel?
Have we hit peak Marvel?
I am at the point where I'm not excited. I saw the trailer. Everyone's flipping their shit. And I'm like, okay, it's another movie that I'll probably wait until it comes out on DVD.
Well, so for those people who have been invested in this stuff for the last 10 years, I mean, it's a culmination of a lot of stuff. So, I mean, obviously people are excited, and it's got everybody in it, including some characters that really haven't even appeared in a movie yet. Black Panther is in February. I think it's Ant-Man and the Wasp is the sequel to Ant-Man.
Yeah, who's Black Wasp? That's the chick at the end?
The Wasp.
The daughter?
Yeah, the Wasp is Hope Van Dyne, yeah.
All right.
I feel how Z must feel when we talk about sports.
You don't care?
My eyes have glazed over. I don't understand anything you're talking about, really.
But this all comes down to, do you have Marvel fatigue? Are you kind of done with these movies? And is this where they should just stop? Like, if there's a period to the sentence, do they just stop there and then say, all right, we're done making Marvel movies?
Well, I mean, you're absolutely
No,
right. There's no way they're going to ever finish these things until this whole thing is until they literally can't make any money.
Right, when it's direct to disc, and even then, it's not making anything.
I think that they'll continue to do this for as long as they can. I mean, as of May of this year, the Marvel Cinematic Universe total box office was somewhere in the neighborhood of $11 billion. And there was no end in sight. I mean, Thor racked up a whole bunch more. You know, they still have another Spider-Man movie on the horizon. The Avengers movie is going to make somewhere in the neighborhood of, you know, it may crack $2 billion. This thing prints money for Disney. Just prints it. Never mind all of the money they get in merchandising with all the characters that they're introducing, the action figures, the video games, everything.
Well, there's a tie-in. What is it? AT&T's got, is it AT&T or Verizon that's got the buy-in or the tie-in? They've got all of the superheroes like in the stores. That they're like, I don't know what the hell the marketing campaign is, but they're there.
Right, so there's money to be made on these things hand over fist. So there's no reason for them to stop making these things. Whether or not they make them with the same stable of characters is a different story, or whether or not they even recast some of these actors, or they recast the characters with different actors. Although I'd have a hard time seeing anybody with Robert Downey playing Ant-Man playing Iron Man, but who knows?
Yeah. Well, are they going to do it like they do with Spider-Man and just recast them every 3 episodes?
Or you do like a James Bond, you know? I mean, James Bond, they've made 20 some odd James Bond movies. And
right,
how many,
6 or what is it, 8 or 9 different James Bonds?
how many Bonds have they had, Ganthor? I mean, it's got to be 5 or 6. 5, 6, 7, whatever it is.
I could name them all. I
You
bet
could?
you. Sean Connery, Roger Moore, George Lazenby, Timothy Dalton, Pierce Brosnan, Daniel Craig.
And that's it.
And
then there was the one odd one.
That's George Lazenby.
He only did the one?
Yeah, Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Yeah, the one that was done by like Sony and not by MGM.
That I don't know. I feel like I'm missing a Bond.
No, I think you got him.
Brosnan, Craig.
Yeah, because you went from Roger
Dalton.
Moore to Timothy Dalton to Pierce Brosnan to Roger Craig.
I guess I did.
Yeah, with what the hell is the name of the guy who played the Pink Panther? Because he played Bond too in some.
Yeah, well, there's that weird Casino Royale Bond movie before the new Casino Royale. That was the old one.
Yeah.
I don't remember that guy's
Right,
name.
but the point is this, right? They've been making Bond movies for decades now, and they've just been swapping actors.
Probably half a century.
Right, and they've just been swapping people
David
out.
David Niven.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Or Barry Nelson.
It doesn't ring a bell. But the point is that the character is the same. The actor changes. So I mean,
they wrote that into Doctor Who too. They wrote it into the plot.
Right. That they can keep swapping a doctor out every couple seasons.
It's a chick now, right? Is that what I saw?
Yeah.
What is Marvel doing right that DC's not?
Well, there's two things that they did wrong. The first is they tried to rush the whole like DC cinematic universe. They tried to rush it. The second thing they did wrong is they hired Zack Snyder.
I have no idea who that is.
Zack Snyder directed Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman and had started to direct Justice League before he had a family problem and had to drop out. So Joss Whedon came in and basically redid all of Justice League so that it was, okay.
I have not seen any of the movies you've mentioned with the exception of Wonder Woman.
Which was good. Wonder Woman was the only one of them that was good. In fact,
I was fine.
So
I was fine with that.
How much is it the director and how much is it the actor?
It's entirely the director. I mean, look, Zack Snyder makes shitty movies.
We also got Ben Affleck involved, right?
I didn't mind Ben Affleck so much, actually. I actually didn't mind him as Batman. I really didn't. But Zack Snyder makes shitty movies. I turn your attention to Sucker Punch as an example, which is probably one of the worst movies ever committed to film.
Is Sucker Punch the one with all the chicks?
Yes.
And the little kids dreaming about it?
Yes.
I'm going to say I really like that movie.
Oh, my God. That movie was awful. Wait for it. Awful. It was bad.
I mean, that movie was a small child's like wet dream.
Well, it was her dream, right? She was in a mental institution or some shit like that.
Right.
It was a terrible movie.
Oh, I liked it.
Oh my God. Well, I don't know what to tell you. Zack Snyder though took the movies and he made them kind of dark and gray and dingy, whereas Marvel's palette is all very bright And I think people resonate. It resonated with people. The Marvel movies are happy movies.
But are they trying to cash in on like what's his name did with
Chris Nolan tried to do?
Movies?
They tried to keep kind of the darker, kind of more grim aesthetic, and I think it just destroyed it. Yeah, it just destroyed the movies. I mean, it works for Batman because Batman's kind of a dark character, but Superman shouldn't be dark. Superman is kind of truth, justice, and the American way. He's supposed to be this kind of bright character. And to have things in these gray and dim and dark color palettes, it was bad. And I had, if you knew the character at all, I had some fundamental problems with the end of the movie, which I won't spoil. But, the Justice League movie it had potential to be good. I thought the CG was atrocious. Any and all of this.
I heard they replaced the dude's mustache.
Oh my God!
With CGI instead of refilming it.
What a disaster! So Henry Cavill plays Superman, and he filmed all of his stuff. And then when Joss Whedon comes in, he has to reshoot everything because everything that Zack Snyder shot was terrible. But by that point, Henry Cavill started filming Mission Impossible 6 with Tom Cruise, and had grown this like big mustache, and he was contractually obligated to keep it. So he had to have Superman doesn't have a mustache, so he had to film the scenes with the mustache, and I had to digitally paint it out, and it looks atrocious. It's the oddest thing you'll ever see, and it absolutely takes you out of the movie because you're going, "What is up with his lip? It's all fucked up." It's just.
You think the artist did it on purpose?
I don't know. Maybe they were doing it for a laugh.
Maybe it was the interns that got assigned that.
Maybe it was. Yeah. You get to fuck with Cavill's lip.
Dicks in background at Disney cartoons.
Yeah.
They fucked up.
They draw sex out of rose petals or something. Yeah. I don't know. It was bad.
So, speaking of Henry Cavill, what happened to that spy stuff that they did? I thought they were going to have a series.
The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was him. It was Arnie Hammer, the guy who played the Winklevoss twins in The Social Network.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I saw that movie. I thought it was fun. I don't know.
Yeah, it was a fun movie. I thought they were going to make a trend of it.
Yeah, I don't know if it did well enough to warrant having a sequel. But that's an interesting point because now everyone is trying for these big movie franchises. That's the coin of the realm. Because if you're a movie studio and you don't have one of these big franchises, I mean, look at it this way. Sony was trying to build their whole franchise up with Spider-Man, right? Figured they couldn't do it. They tried it, they borked it, and then they sold out to Disney. Right? They said, okay, well, we can't do this on our own, so we need some of your sweet, sweet Marvel money. Let's partner this up. So now Spider-Man, they make another movie with Marvel and Disney, and now Spider-Man appears in the Avengers. Fox has the X-Men, and they're holding on to that for dear life.
Well, hold on. Did you hear the rumors going around?
Oh, right. So Disney is going to acquire Fox.
For, what was it, $20 bajillion?
$60 billion.
Damn, Lucas
that is a number that makes zero
cheap.
sense. That is a number that doesn't make any sense.
$60 billion.
I agree.
What is that number?
It's a lot. It's a big number. But it would give Disney the opportunity to have the Avengers and the X-Men together. And they would resolve an awful lot of weird and awkward plot points. Well, that would be interesting too. Disney is turning themselves into something of a powerhouse. I mean, there's going to be very, very. I don't know how you compete with them. I mean, Warner Brothers was printing money with the Harry Potter franchise for a while, but when they finished those 8 movies, they were turning like, what do we do? So they started the Fantastic Beasts as a franchise. So now there's 5 planned movies in that sequence at least.
Well, why not? They've got a established fan base and again printing money.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the they're. Universal now is trying to kickstart Jurassic World, right? So now there's going to be a Jurassic World 2, right? So they're trying to keep the Jurassic Park thing going. Ridley Scott has been trying to rebuild his Alien world, right? So they had Prometheus, Alien Covenant. They're going to make more Alien movies, so they're trying to get that franchise going again. James Cameron is now got 2 franchises. He's got 3 Avatar movies coming out over the course of the next 5 years or so, and they're going to try to give him Terminator again so that he can reboot it and try to do it right.
Mm-hmm.
franchises are the coin of the realm. Everyone wants a franchise, and whether or not the Man from U.N.C.L.E., people are trying any kind of shit to get consistent money year after year. And that's the one thing that Disney did with Marvel that really, really drives the point home, is that they have one or two of these movies every year.
Yeah.
I mean, is there a franchise that you guys would want to see someone make?
I mean, at what point, when are they going to start going back to some of the older stuff that they're always redoing everything, right? So they redid Fuller House. Are they going to redo Gilligan's Island?
Yeah, they'll reboot Gilligan's Island.
Are they going to redo Gomer Pyle? Rest in peace.
How about what if they Ganthor? What if they rebooted the Three Stooges?
Somebody already did that.
Well, they did a movie. They did a Three Stooges movie a few years ago. That's right.
I refuse to watch it. I will never watch it. There's things that shouldn't be done.
Do you know the
Citizen Kane? They shouldn't reboot Citizen Kane. They shouldn't reboot Casablanca.
Yeah.
Just do it and be done and move on and create some original content. Nobody can do that.
What did we learn? What did we learn about Marvel, about the MCU, about franchises, about what? What did we learn, Z-Man?
You're never going to see it all.
Never going to see it all.
Is there? Wait, hold on. Is there actually an order you're supposed to see all the shit in?
There is actually, and it's more the order that they came out in each of the phases. So you watch them in groups leading up to the Avengers, like the big event movies at the end of each of the phases. We are at the end of Phase 4, coming up to Avengers: Infinity War.
It's kind of like the underpants gnomes from South Park, right?
Yeah. Ganthor, what did you learn?
What's your favorite superhero?
Yeah, we didn't actually talk about
we
that.
Didn't talk.
For me, from these movies, it's Captain America.
Ugh, he's such a pussy.
No, I just mean in general.
Oh, in general? Oh, it's Batman.
Oh, God.
Whose superpower is being rich?
Yeah. And white.
Privileged.
Oh, my God. Why did you turn that into a racist thing, you fucking idiot?
Because he's a shitty superhero. He's not super in any way. He just has a ton of money, and he gets away with stuff.
I like him. He's dark and brooding.
What's yours, Ganthor?
Sergeant Rock.
Who the hell's that?
He's a DC guy. He doesn't really have any superpowers. He's just a sergeant in World War II.
Ganthor's like Charlie Brown. Like you say, what'd you get for Christmas? And he goes, I got a rock. What's your favorite comic book character? Sergeant Rock.
Whatever. Shut up. He's awesome, man. If you want like a stupid magic superhero dude, it would probably be Wolverine.
There you go. I accept that.
Over Gambit?
Oh, absolutely.
I love Gambit. Gambit.
Yeah, I do. Gambit is kind of nice.
He's kind of nice. That's sweet, Ganthor. What did I learn?
He's swell.
He can throw playing cards. He's like, oh yeah, and he's got the French accent.
Yeah.
Ooh la la!
I guarantee.
Mon ami.
Oh my God! What did I learn? I learned that I will keep watching all this stuff, and I hope that they don't fuck it up when they do this kind of shit with Star Wars. If they ever get to peak Star Wars, I'll be disappointed, because right now we live in amazing times.
Did you see that Disney's going to have a Star Wars hotel?
Yeah, dude, I can't wait. I can't wait.
You don't think that Spirit already has like bookings there for a week?
They don't have a booking. They haven't opened up bookings yet. As soon as they do, I'm in, and I don't care what year I book it for, but I'm in. All I want to know is I'm going.
Yeah, it looks pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I would definitely go to.
Yeah. I could do a whole hour on that. So if you love the Marvel movies and you love what they're doing with this franchise and you get sucked into peak Marvel, why don't you go ahead and let us know on the Facebook page, facebook.com/4listeners or 4listeners.com. You can check out the show on Stitcher Radio, on iTunes or Apple Podcasts or on Google Play. Just search for 4Listeners. It will pop right on up, and you can give us a tweet on the Twitters at 4Listeners, and you can donate money. What is it? Patreon.com/4Listeners. Word. We thank you for checking us out this week, and we hope that you will check us out again next week. Thanks a bunch, everybody.